Hi, guys, and welcome back to Bar Exam. I'm your host, Allie Rayner, and I'm here with the Bar Exam crew. We got Eric G in the building, as always. What's up, Eric?
What up, y'all? What's good? What's good?
And we also have Mr. Shane G in the building, subbing in for Marcus. What's up, Shane?
What's goody? What's goody? Happy to be here.
Good. All right, guys. Coming far before the bar this week, we are discussing the best albums of 2024. We can thank Eric for this little gem. It was really hard to pick because there were a ton of albums. I didn't even realize so many of them had already dropped. I thought that we were going to be seeing a lot more in 2025. But there are some artists who snuck in there. So let's discuss some of our favorite albums. Shane, you have a lot of them. So, and Eric has a lot of them too. So I don't know who wants to start it off first.
Yeah, I got some joints. I'll start with one that I think we can all talk about. So let's start with "Dark Times" by Vince Staples. I imagine, Allie, that you listen to Vince Staples.
A little bit. And honestly, in the last couple of years, it's been more because he's just been more out in like the media. He's been doing his TV show and stuff. So yeah, like I'm getting there.
So the reason that surprises me is because he's a little bit more of a content rapper, I would say. He's not really a and when I say that, I mean he has a lot of content in his music. Like there's a lot of subject matter. He goes deep. He talks about, emotional stuff. He talks about losing people. He talks about like real life struggles and stuff like that, and I know that that's more up your alley when it comes to rap than, the more commercial get, fuck bitches get money type music. He doesn't really make that, you know what I mean? So that's why that's a little shocking. But yeah, Vince always delivers. What did you think about it, Eric? I loved it.
This is one of my favorite Vince albums.
Yeah.
It's not in my top 5, but that's because I think I've been getting more into Vince the older that I get now too. Because I was always a fan of his, but I was never rushing to go hear any of his albums. But the older I get, the more I'm inclined to go and run to listen to him. And this was one that I wanted to hear because a lot of people said it was good. And yeah, I agree with him.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with the feedback that the album got. For sure. Like it was mostly I didn't really see any negative feedback actually, So yeah. No, I really fucked with this album. I definitely want to go back to it more. There's so much music that comes out all the time. It's hard to go back to certain albums, but this is one that I want to make a point to go back to more because his lyrical content is always, on par. And I really like his beat selection too, because he does not pick normal West Coast sounding beats. Like he might drop one here and there on the album, but if he's giving you 17 cuts, 14 of them are gonna be almost on some Earl Sweatshirt kind of, he's a different West Coast dude, even though what he's talking about is very relatable if you're from the West Coast, but he does it in a different way though. He doesn't really glorify it. You know what I mean? I don't even know too many people who know specifically what gang he's from. People know he's a Crip. They don't really know where unless you do research and stuff. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't really celebrate it for real. He's just no, this is just a part of my background. You know what I mean? So it's a different thing with him. And I think I just appreciate the realism that he brings into his music because he actually paints a full picture of, what his life is like being a young black man growing up in Southern California, in Long Beach specifically. He really does a accurate job of painting that picture, I feel which a lot of people don't. A lot of people, they kind of glorify it in one direction or another. They're just super turned up violent, you know what I'm saying, all the time, with banging on people constantly, and that's all they ever did in their whole life. And it's all right, nigga, you know what I'm saying? You ain't never play basketball, you ain't never take a girl on a date, you ain't never do nothing but gangbang on enemies, and that was it, right? So you get that side of rap, and then you get the Tyler the Creator side where it's all the way weirdo. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, Tyler would say that about himself. You know what I'm saying? Like he purposely is trying to be strange, and be different. So that's what I mean. Like, but those are kind of the sides of Cali rap. You know what I mean? Either you're all the way this way or all the way that way. So Vince, I feel like, is great middle ground because he gives you, like I said, just an accurate picture of what I imagine it would be like growing up, in Southern Cali. So shout out to Vince. This is a great album.
Hell yeah. I definitely got to go back and give it a listen. And kind of like what you were saying about like his, like how he thinks and like how he uses like content and stuff. Like I have to say, I got more impressed with him with watching like the Netflix show, and I kind of understood him a little bit more. And like, because before I thought like, I like listening to him, but I thought that he kind of like you were saying, he kind of sits in this middle where like he's not too happy, he's not too sad, like he's close to sad though, like he's always telling you some real shit. So it's like you're not necessarily putting him on for like the day party, you know what I mean,
Absolutely
the brunch
not.
or whatever. But I will say, watching the show, I understood like where he was coming from a lot more. That he was trying to explain that like there is another side of a guy than just the hood mentality, or maybe like he does have a lot of feelings inside that he's like battling with, and he doesn't know how to actually talk about them. And it was interesting because a lot of guys don't go that route, especially if they get a TV show. It's normally not like, I'm going to talk about my feelings and like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I definitely have to agree that I need to go back and give it a listen, because he's definitely doing some impressive shit.
And also his interviews are actually, he's one of those people that listening to his interviews made me go check out his music. Because I love West Coast rap, right? But because his sound was so different than the norm, he, like Eric said, he wasn't necessarily one of those people that I was running to go check for until I started listening to his interviews. And when I was listening to his interviews, and like I was like, oh, he's funny, but he's also super smart and informed, and he actually knows what's going on. Like when he speaks, I'm like, nah, he does research. Like he knows what's like, you know what I mean? Like I get that feeling from him. Like this isn't just innate feelings that he has and he happens to be right on. He speaks a little too accurately sometimes to certain issues, to where I'm like, you're well researched on this. Like so when I kind of found that out about him, that made me want to go listen to the music more. And then I developed more of an appreciation for where he was coming from in the music, because I was like, okay, he does that in the music too. Like it's not two separate people. You know what I mean? It's not like how with 2 Chainz, no, disrespect to 2 Chainz, but like we found out that nigga went to college way later, and we just thought he was just trapping and that was it. And you know what I'm saying? No, it turns out he was a basketball star in Georgia. You know what I'm saying? And nigga went to college, has degrees and shit. He's actually a super smart guy. And that's one side of him. And then the artist 2 Chainz that he presents to us is a completely different person almost. You know what I'm saying? Than his regular. That's not Vince Staples. Vince Staples that you talk to on a regular Tuesday is the same person, in my opinion. That's why I think the album's so good too, because it gives me that feeling. You know what I mean? It gives me the feeling that like, nah, the same guy that I'm looking at over here on, Tuesday at 3:30, just hanging out with his homies, is the same guy I'm listening to on this album. So shout out Vince.
Oh yeah, shout out to Vince. Okay. All right, Eric, what about one of your picks?
All right, we'll keep it West Coast for right now. One of my picks so far for the year is Blue Bucks Clan and Hit Boy, Biggest Out the West. I just this is just a group that I just enjoy listening to just on the regular. Like they have a really good ear for like the type of beats that they like to rap on, and they also have like found the perfect pocket for like the style that they present. And both of them are, in my opinion, very silly, but that's why I fuck with them and I don't even think they're trying to be funny either when they're rapping. That's the best part. So they just say a lot of shit that just happens to be funny to me. But yeah, this is just a really like smooth listen all the way through. I think Hit Boy is once again about to be on tear again production wise this year. And he kind of gave you like a nice little palette of like all different sounds throughout the project. So that's another reason why I really fuck with it. 2 Chainz is on it, Wiz is on it, Dom Kennedy's on it, and then Kalime For Real, and Ty Dolla $ign are on it. But yeah, if you just fuck with good West Coast music, this is just another banger album to put on in the background. But yeah, I fuck with these guys. Shane knows, like, we've been fucking with these dudes for a couple of years now. So
my favorite thing that they do is tell you what other niggas are doing that they just refuse to do. Like, they do it all the time. Like we drink champagne, we don't drink beer, or like they have different various flips of that all the time.
They talk about like different shit that like they wear that like they would never see themselves caught wearing some other shit that like these other niggas is wearing. It's always some shit like that.
Yeah,
like, I'm
it's
eating
really
this,
fun.
we're never eating that. Like never touching that.
Yeah. Big steaks and shrimps ain't no sandwiches. Like that's one of their lines. Like they say,
this is the way they say it too. It's so blunt and matter of fact.
Yeah, like why the fuck would I do that? Like, like when I'm doing this, like yeah, no, they just talk like ill ass rich nigga shit, like, and they just do it. Yeah, they do it in a really humorous way, like
yeah,
because yeah, they just don't care. Like it's funny. Like yeah, shout out Blue Bucks Clan. Like I definitely enjoy listening to their shit.
For sure,
they made me laugh a few times a song.
Right.
I gotta check them out. I have never heard of them. Are they like not really mainstream?
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't call them mainstream,
but I would say that they're big enough they've rapped with most of the Cali dudes that you fuck with, probably. Like they got songs with YG, they got songs with, various artists.
Okay, got you. All right, so they're out there, but okay. I gotta go take a little bit of a dive to go find them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if they're on the radio anywhere. You know what I mean?
I would be surprised
because they don't have hooks on like any of their songs. It's just them all through every time, just them taking turns, just talking shit over beats. Like,
half the time it just is like freestyles.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be like a coherent hook or none of that. It's just them rapping back and forth.
Yeah, that's a little bit hard to sell, but okay, I feel you. I do like when people kind of like forget the rules. They kind of just have fun with it and do their own type of flow, and when you stand in it, it's like, okay, you created your own lane. Like, what can we even do? Like, if now someone else does it, it's like we feel like they're biting off of you, but like by you doing it, it's like, oh, all right, that's just going to be your style. That's how you're known from now on. So, okay, I'm going to check them out. I always like some fun, some whimsical.
Nigga said, I thought a nigga with no bitches said something. I fuck with these niggas though, yeah.
All right.
What's the name of the album one more time here?
Biggest Out the West.
Okay. All right. So we've heard from Shane, we've heard from Eric. I guess I'll go next. Y'all have way longer lists, so I'll just get mine out the way. So for me, I have to go with Rhapsody's Please Don't Cry. I really like this one because she did a really good job of using like that neo soul production and like really hard hitting lyrics. Like she does not hold any punches, and she definitely holds her own, even like on boom bap tracks, like with Lil Wayne and Nico Brim. Like the song Raw was she went crazy on there, and she addresses like a lot of introspection, but also like what she notices in the industry, especially when it comes to like women, critics that, you know, that has something to say about her. And I liked it. I liked that she was getting some stuff off of her chest, and she had a really good balance. You know, she went from these bangers to more of these like R&B soulful vibes. And I think that she really took her time with it, and it really shows. And then it's going to be hard for people to pick like her best lyrics because she just had so many of them. Like she didn't hold back on these tracks. So like for Asteroids, that was one of my favorite ones. Look What You've Done, really good track as well. But I also like tracks like Never Enough and A Ballad for Homegirls because they had that nice R&B vibe, even like island vibes for Never Enough. And I thought it was one of those albums that you could play all the way through and you wouldn't get bored with the same type of sound the whole time. Like I think that she did a good job of like bringing you up, then chilling you out, and then bringing you back up. So yeah, I think that she did a good job. It was super long. It was like 22 tracks. So I think that I might have missed some in there, but there's a ton of them for people to choose from. So definitely got to be one of my favorite rap albums of the year. For sure, for sure.
Yeah, I love Rhapsody, and I definitely think we need more, you know, more of a push for that type of music, just in general. But definitely, I would say for modern rap women, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely, just because there's not enough Rhapsodies and Jean Greys that are like, that get a lot of praise, you know, not even necessarily on a mainstream level, but like on a Talib Kweli level. You know what I mean? Like he's known, everybody knows Kweli, everybody knows a couple joints that they like by him. You know what I'm saying? He may not be your favorite, you may not have all his albums, but there's a couple joints that if I play them, you'll be like, oh yeah, I fuck with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and everybody knows it's by Kweli. So I would like to see them get that level of recognition. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they have the talent, they're really nice, but they're just not over sexualized. And that's the thing. Like when you're over sexualized, that's what gets you, but that shouldn't be the only route for female rappers. You know what I mean? Like that's my only issue. I don't mind if that's the type of music you make because it's fun and it's dope, and women are sexual creatures as well. So it's like, yeah, make that music. That's cool. But that shouldn't be all you're allowed to make or all you're allowed to present yourself as. So that's where my, you know, appreciation for a Rhapsody or, like I said, a Jean Grey as well, you know, people of that, you know, cut from that cloth, you know, they're more like the MC Lights, you know, how she was back in the day. They're kind of more on that wave. So
yeah, for sure.
Lauryn Hill, you know, when she was, you know, rapping, that type of shit. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that that's what the other thing, and I think that she was trying to get it off of her chest that like it can be kind of hard for her to have so much talent and to like be rapping her ass off on tracks with like some legends, and even have Hove like, you know, give her props, and she's like, and I still feel as though like people just don't try and recognize it because she's not sexualizing herself. Like even I looked at some of the videos just to see like what she was doing with it, and she's basically all the way covered up. She just wants you to focus on the lyrics, and she had a lot to say, a lot to get off of her chest, and I felt like what she was talking about was true about normally like the women's roles in the music industry and how they want you to come off a certain way, and that she just is like sick of them also asking her about her sexuality and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely felt like she was definitely getting that off of her chest in this one, and she did a good job of it.
What's y'all's opinion of that? Like, just while we're there for a second, like, do you think, and I just thought about this, do you think that women have to look a certain way in order to be able to get certain types of content off? And here's what I mean. So like Queen Latifah, right? Never was a sexual rapper. Like she always, you know, just stuck to, you know, basic hip hop shit, you know, being the illest MC and, you know, telling stories from the hood and shit like that. Right. And so, and repping for the ladies, you know what I mean? That was her thing. But she was wearing like African kente cloth and like dashikis and stuff like that, and wore like a crown in the video, her and Moni Love, you know what I mean? They weren't, and this is the early 90s. This is when Luke was popping, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like that wasn't part of hip hop. It was, you know what I'm saying? So, but when I say she looks a certain way, I mean, she was a bigger girl, you know what I mean? It's easier for her to kind of pull off the one of the girls hanging with the fellas, you know what I'm saying? Like you could kind of imagine that with her. So if she's not being too girly, for the lack of a better word, in her music, it makes sense and we can accept it still. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like, even if Nicki Minaj dressed like a tomboy, if she still has her same body that she has, like, do we take her rap serious if she's only rapping like Queen Latifah? Or does she have to rap sexual because she's pretty also? You get what I'm saying? Like, what do y'all think about that?
I feel as though, unfortunately, like nowadays, it seems like you have to, at least to just get on or like to get noticed, especially like in the world of social media. I feel like anything that gets views, all of a sudden, like they act as though like that also equals popularity or clout or something, you know, influence. So I think that, unfortunately, like nowadays, I think that it kind of is like you have to kind of be at these extremes. Like, but I don't know how Queen Latifah did it though. Like, I think that
Queen Latifah worked today. Like, if a new artist who essentially presented herself the exact same way Queen Latifah did back then, but in a 2024 context, a bigger girl, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, pretty in the face, but you know, like not a model by any means, like that type of thing. Like, could that work today? Do you even think?
I think it's possible. What's that one girl's name? She's like kind of like a pop star. Can't remember her name though. She's the girl who got criticized at the Laker game that one time.
Lizzo,
that's who I'm thinking of. So I think it can work because we've kind of seen it work in different genres too. Like Lizzo is my example for that. Like, okay, it definitely worked.
I see your argument.
It did for a little while. So I think the thing that still matters is that I think the music still has to be good. Because a lot of the top female artists, even though they're making certain type of music, the music is still good. Like, the music Megan's making is still good. The music Glorilla's making is good.
Yeah.
Same with Lotto. Like, same with Nicki.
Yeah.
Like, all of them are still making good music. So I think it is a case by case basis, but at the end of the day, I still think good music will kind of trump all that other shit.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I think that like people like there's also the rapper Maya the Don. She's, you know, a bigger woman, but she's definitely like got that femininity, and then she also has a lot of personality. Like, so she really puts herself out there. So I kind of also wonder if it's a little bit of that too, of like, because you kind of do have to, you can't exactly straddle the fence, and if you do nowadays, it kind of seems like you have to be pegged as like another angle of like, okay, are you then gonna come in as like an LGBTQ type of you know, music artist or musician? So I think that's where like Rhapsody fell in this really weird area, because people were always, I don't know why people even care about her sexuality for real, but she kind of like fell in this weird area where people weren't sure, like, because she wasn't really girly. Like, she wasn't coming out with like,
because people find her attractive. That's the thing. Like, and so when you're a celebrity, and that's why I was asking the question ultimately, because even a Rhapsody, you know what I mean? Because people find her attractive. It's like, you can sexualize her. You know what I'm saying? It was the same thing that happened with what's her name? The singer, Janelle Monáe. Like, she used to wear baggy clothes and the whole thing, and people just used to make comments anyway on social media. Like, I could see what's under them pants. Like, you can't hide all that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So people sexualized her anyway, even though that wasn't even her aim. And
Yeah.
then she started flashing her titties at all her concerts. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just randomly, she was just all over the internet, like just flashing. And it was just like, okay, so you're going all the way the opposite way now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know, but I was just curious. What y'all's thoughts were on that. But
Yeah.
so okay, you said something. I do. Here's my next pick. It's Schoolboy Q and Blue Lips. And so I have 3 standout songs to me. So I like Thank God for Me. That song was fire. Had a dope 3 6 Mafia sample from Chicken Heads by Project Pat. Blue Slides to me was dope. It's another one of those like super personal, I feel like I know this nigga records after I listen to it, to me. You know what I mean? And so you weren't necessarily feeling the jazz vibes, Ali. I loved it, especially on that song. Like I love that beat too. So but I like that type of shit though. Like I like RZA production. I like, DJ Premier in the 90s. Like I like those real sample heavy, boom bappy type beats. So I appreciate when more modern rappers who are younger do that type of shit. Cause Schoolboy's only like 30, 31. So like the fact that he's not only rapping on trap beats, I appreciate that as somebody who grew, you know what I mean? So, and then, but on the exact opposite side of that, we have Yearn 101, which is a turn up record. Now he was talking some real shit on the record still, but it was clearly, you know what I mean? It was one of those, like, cause he kind of has a formula with his albums too, but the formula works. So that's why, like, I'm not mad at it at all. Like he's gonna have one of those nights, type of records. He's gonna have a collard greens type of record. It's fun, and you know what I'm saying, you can turn up and play it in the club and all that shit. And then a gang of personal shit, a gang of stories, a gang of this is what I'm going through and this is how I feel. And just because I got money don't mean everything's right. You know what I'm saying? I still got homies dying, and you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to raise my kids the right way and keep them out the bullshit, but it's Cali, and you know what I'm saying? Like all of this type of shit. Like, so yeah, shout out Schoolboy. That's another one. He's another content over, he's content over catchy. That's what I'll say. Like he does have catchy records, of course, like because TDE knows how to write records, you know what I mean? But he's giving you, like, TDE is also great at crafting albums. So you're going to know what's going on the inside of, these artists' minds and hearts. So I those are the type of artists I prefer. So yeah, Schoolboy delivered with another one.
Okay. Yeah. For me, it's a little bit of not that I don't like jazz. I think it was just more of I wasn't expecting it from him. I think that like for me, I was looking for more of those like collard green type of tracks throughout, and just like maybe even some more like, I guess like some more like club bangers too. Kind of like just I don't know. I guess the jazz just threw me off. I wasn't mad at it. I think I'm more used to like a neo soul R&B type of vibe nowadays, so that when jazz is in there, I'm like not sure how to feel about it, but maybe I need to take another listen.
Just, listen to those 3. I think, and if you're looking for more, like I said, the up tempo, more fun tracks, do Thank God for Me. It starts slow, but it picks up. And then Yearn 101. There's a video for that one too. It's spelled YEERN 101. And that's a straight up turn up record. So
okay. All right, I'm gonna give this another try. Because I think I remember listening to Thank God for Me. And I wasn't mad about that one. But so I'm going to listen to the other one too. Okay. What about your next pick, Eric?
So I'll just piggyback off a few things that Shane said about Blue Lips, and then I'll give my actual next pick. So I like that album a lot for a lot of the same reasons that Shane said. But I also kind of like the formula in what it seems like he releases albums. it feels like we always get one that's a little more serious than like it's a little more on the serious side, and like the album before that will always be the one that's like kind of filled with like more hit records. So in this instance, the last album before this was Crash Talk. So that was, to me, that had way more hits on it than it did like more personal shit. Whereas obviously this was kind of a like a reintroduction back into the personal shit, kind of like how Blank Face was. So that's kind of like, that's another reason why I like this one so much, because it kind of reminds me of Blank Face in that way, like especially production wise. So I just like that return to form for him, because to me, Blank Face is his best album, personally. So I like him getting back, kind of getting back on that type of vibe with this. So that was a reason why I like this album so much. My actual next pick though, this has to be one that I didn't foresee putting on my list, just because like I fuck with Griselda for sure, but I didn't really listen to too many of Conway's solo albums. So putting this one on my list was kind of a big deal, because I really fuck with this album. It's Slant Face Killer. I think this whole thing is pretty much flawless top to bottom. This is probably, I think Conway gets better every album that he raps on, and on this one him and Benny always, to me, it's always a race between them two to see who the better member is. And right now I feel like after this album it's Conway. He has some really, really interesting features on here, like the Larry June feature. I fucking love that feature, because it was so like left field, it felt like, but at the same time it like really, like when you listen to the song, it's really not. It's like right and right at home for him. I really like the Key Glock feature, because again, that's another one that was just kind of, I did not expect that one. I think Joey Badass continues to prove why he's one of the most underrated rappers ever. And yeah, I just love the way that he had Ab-Soul on this thing. And the thing that I love is that like he didn't have any Griselda features on this. He kind of went like all the way outside and just like grabbed his own features on, and figured out like who would sound good on like his own terms, and he pulled it off flawlessly to me. This is a really, really good album. If you have not listened to it, it's called Slant Face Killer. It's only 14 songs, so it's not a long listen, but it's just some really, really fucking good hip hop shit.
Conway is fucking fired. I love Conway. Just like you said, between him and Benny, it's like, I don't know, bro. Like, them niggas are so cold. But yeah, I don't even have anything to add to what you just said. Like,
yeah, man, really good production. Like, I don't know, Method Man's on there, Swiss Beats. Like, there's a bunch more people I can name. Just go listen to it if you haven't heard it.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right, Shane. What about your next pick?
I'll follow up with
Griselda. Benny next.
Yep, I'll do Benny next. Everybody can go. And I mean, yeah, it's kind of you know what I'm saying, the same thing. I think this was a better project than his first album that was on Def Jam. I like that one, but I felt like he was trying to be a little bit more radio friendly on that one, and make, you know, and he was straying a little bit from the formula, you know, and so I feel like that was probably one of his weaker projects, even though it was still good. But I feel like he came back around and was like, nah, let me do what I really do. And he gave us that on this. So yeah, like I can basically repeat everything Eric said about Conway, about Benny. So, but yeah, everybody can't go was good. That it was also, it's representative of what happens a lot of times to people who experience a lot of success when the people around them, not everyone around them has experienced that same level of success. You know what I mean? So, or notoriety or whatever it may be. So everybody can't go because everyone's not going to understand. You know what I mean? Everyone's not going to understand. Yo, when we in the hood and somebody disrespects you, yeah, punch them in their face. At this party, if we go up in here, you can't do that. Some people are going to not understand that. They're going to be like, why not? Disrespect to disrespect. It's like, okay, well, you can't come. Everybody can't go. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you can just apply that to different levels of your life. You know, you may want everybody to come with you, but there's a reason why there's only so much room at the top, they say. You know what I mean? Everybody can be successful, you know, given the right circumstances and everything. But when you are one of 100 people in, you know, your family, let's say an extended family and stuff like that, there's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? Everybody can't go. You know what I mean? You can't take 100 people with you. So that's kind of the recurring theme throughout the album, is like realizing that, trying to get your people to realize it's like, I love you still, you know what I mean? But I can't take you with me everywhere, like, you know, because this is my life ultimately that I'm living. You know what I mean? Like, there's only so much, you know, I can do for other people before, you know, I'm hurting myself, you know, so everybody can't go. So, you know, and I feel like that's a powerful message. You know what I mean? Sometimes, and even in other ways, even if it's not a financial thing, even if it's just you're trying to elevate in a certain way, and there's people who are still stuck in their past ways, you know what I mean? That maybe once upon a time you indulged in those same past ways, but now you've moved beyond that. So everybody can't go. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, it's a powerful message, and I think anybody can apply it. You know, just given how you choose to apply it. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, honestly. I gave it a little bit of a listen, and I liked what I heard so far. I felt like it kind of like if there were to be a playlist for them, like it would seamlessly flow right in. Like I feel like they just stay in that pocket and they don't play around with it. So I was gonna put it on the list, but I was like, it might be too predictable, like because it does seem like they don't really miss. So I was like, maybe one of the guys will do it. I don't know if I should.
They don't miss. Even Westside, like Westside is so creative that he doesn't even necessarily have to be the best rapper. Like he can rap, but he's just so unique. He's like ODB in a way, where it's like, yeah, we know ODB can rap, but like he doesn't have to all the time. He can just get on a track and entertain us, and that's cool. We'll take that. Like, you know what I mean? That's Westside. But Benny and Conway, like them niggas, they are some ass rappers.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I feel that. Okay, so speaking of rapping ass rappers, I guess I'll just go on to my next pick. So for me, I had to pick Megan Thee Stallion's Megan. So she named this one as like her first album being away from a traditional record label. She decided to actually use her own production company called Hot Girl Productions. So I guess this is like her rebirth, right? So she decided to just do everything on her own terms since leaving 1501. And I liked it a lot because it was definitely cohesive, but I liked because with the overall, for majority of it, there was like one song in there that I was not too crazy about. Like Worthy just said I couldn't get it. It gave off too much pop, but everything else was great. Like Hiss, Paper Together, Miami Blue, Cobra, Moody Girl, like those are all solid tracks. And I feel like she definitely shows off her rapping ability, and like she has a lot of, I see that she's playing around with like different target audiences, and somehow it came off really well on the actual album. I think it's maybe like her beat selection or something, but she had songs with UGK, Victoria Monet, Yuki Chiba, who was a Japanese rapper, Kyle Rich. So she went like South, mainstream R&B, New York, Japan. So she's definitely like hitting all these different markets, and it's working really well for her. And I like that she's not afraid to be unique. I think that it's cool that she's into anime and that like she really leans into that, but she also still holds on to like her Southern roots. And even though UGK, they had gone back and forth a couple times. I guess I forgot who it was who was shouting her out, but they decided to finally link up, and I thought that was dope. That I can't remember which one of them was like trying to hit on her or whatever, but I thought it was dope that she decided to like do a song with them and then go on stage as well with them just to show the unity there. So I think that she's doing a really good job of taking care of her audience. And I can't wait to see what else she's got. But yeah, I thought it was a good album.
As far as why it works, like you were saying, like that she tried different, like it's probably the production, and that's why it can possibly work in different regions. I guess you were saying like there's different like sounds to it. That's almost a reflection of what like 2000s rap albums were like. You can almost tell what era she grew up in listening to music, because that's how all of those albums were back then. Like if you had a T.I. album, for example, there would be a West Coast joint on there. There would be a East Coast joint, a R&B-ish type joint. You know what I'm saying? Like that was
the Miami flavor. Yeah,
with the Miami flavor, exactly, where you wear the loose button up and no socks. You know what I'm saying? And some slacks. Like he was giving you one of those on, like you were getting at least 5 of those type of joints. You know what I'm saying? Where it was like, okay, he clearly made that for this audience. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then the rest would be his normal trap ATL shit. You know what I'm saying? 50 Cent, same thing. He's going to give you that West Coast joint, you know what I'm saying, in the club. He's going to give you the, you know, R&B joint, 21 Questions, or, you know what I'm saying? He's going to give you those, you know, where, again, you know exactly where the audience, he's going to give you the Young Buck joint, you know what I'm saying, from the first album. I forgot what it was called, but it was like, oh, this is the South record. Okay, we get, like, you know what I'm saying? And then the rest of it's going to be that New York shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how every album was for, you know, like a probably 7-year period.
For a long time.
For a long time. It was like people would have, you know, wherever they were from, that would be the majority of the album. But then you could obviously tell, like, oh, okay, this is the South record. This is the West Coast record. Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Like, so I think she kind of grew up in that era. So she's probably doing that, you know what I mean, to a degree. Like she probably fucks with all of these different regions, especially because music wasn't really super regional after a while. Like it became really, you know, because of the internet, you know what I mean? So it was like people grew up listening to everything. So
yeah. And I think that she's doing a good job of like showing that. You're right. Like that. She definitely is like leaning into like the social media side too. So I think her team probably like just decided to like compile all of her audiences together and was like, okay, we definitely got to hit all of your major markets. And she did a really good job. I was surprised that it came off like a whole, like a actual like full cohesive album. I thought it was going to be like real, I don't know. I thought it was just going to be all over the place, but it didn't come off as that. I thought it came off really, really polished. So we'll see. The only one that I didn't like was, that pop song. I just didn't, after all like the boom baps and stuff, I was like, I don't understand where this pop one decided to find its way in here, but
she might
sure.
Probably the label tried to sneak that one in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
that's what it was given.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so those are my picks. Eric, do you want to do the next one?
Sure. Let's see, which one will I do next? Okay, we can do the one we're gonna argue about. I'll save that one for last. So my next pick is Gunna One of One. Gunna is, I guess he's really surprised me because he's pretty much made it out of this situation completely unscathed at this point. Like, perception-wise, like, nobody really cares. Like, he's still selling out shows. He's still touring everywhere. The music is still selling. The music is still really good. And he continues to prove that on an album like this one. Now, unlike the one that he dropped right after all the trial stuff went down, I like this one a little more because there are a few features on here that I just wasn't expecting. So I was surprised that to see Roddy Ricch back on here, back in good terms with him, but I do like that song. But I think the one that surprised me the most is Offset, because it kind of feels like they're about to like drop like some potential collab album or something, because they dropped another single recently, not too long ago too. So I'm curious to see what happens there. But I mean, yeah, like this again. If you just like the music that Gunna makes, then there's not really much more for me to tell you. Like the album is full of songs like that. He has a nice little R&B section a little bit too that I'm like I kind of like that he's digging back into that bag as well. But yeah, and then again, it's this one is a slightly longer album at 20 songs, so there's a couple on here that like I do skip. But to me, the first I would say 10 to 12 tracks are like really really good if you still like putting him on. So yeah, Gunna one of one. That is my latest pick.
Here's the thing about Gunna, right? Like people like to they like how do I want to say this? They're picky and choosy with their moral outrage, right? So like
Yeah.
people are morally against men putting their hands on women, they say. You know what I'm saying? Everybody still loves Chris Brown. You know what I'm saying? And like allegedly the Rihanna thing wasn't the only time that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like there's allegedly been a history of this with other girls as well. So, you know, there's that. R. Kelly. Motherfuckers knew what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers knew the Aaliyah story and all of that shit way before he went to prison for it. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's still stepping in the name of love. And you know what I'm saying? Like maybe not now, you know what I mean? Because he went to prison for it. And it's like, okay, you're found guilty. Now we can't act like it didn't happen now. But it's like everybody knew. You know what I'm saying? So like the moral outrage of stuff that we say we don't fuck with, but we'll still listen to people's music. It's like, so we're gonna draw the line at snitching, really? Like, no, I don't agree with that either. But there's whole pedophiles, R. Kelly, you know what I'm saying? And then there's whole woman beaters, you know, allegedly after the Rihanna thing, Chris Brown. So again, I'm saying allegedly, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But these are things that are out there, you know what I mean? So there's rumors. But I'm just saying, like, but people forgive that. But snitching, it's like, nah, that's too crazy. Like, nah, I can't. You know what I mean? Like, I guess
Yeah.
that's how I look at it now. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really ever a huge Gunna fan anyway, so I wasn't going out of my way to listen to him regardless. But he has some songs that I like, and if they come on in the shuffle, I'm not running to turn them off or no shit like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, I can't support this snitch. Like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you live by the whole separate the art from the artist thing, then that shit really shouldn't matter. Even if they rapping about it. So what? You know what I'm saying? Like, so what?
Yeah. I mean, and then honestly, like, I feel like when you have the talent too, you know, like I feel like Gunna never was just using like social media games to get streams and stuff like that, unlike people like 6ix9ine or something. So when it then comes down to like, what is your next project going to be? Like, we want to hear from you. Like, he actually has something to say. Like, you know, he makes good music. Whereas like 6ix9ine, he was more of like this. Wasn't really a lyrical type of dude. Wasn't really like looking for to keep in like one certain type of style. It was more of like whatever is just popping. Whoever is just going to be the most salacious, I'm going to put them on here. You know. So I think that that's another thing that Gunna wins with is like he actually has like talent. I feel like he actually, you know, does a really good job. And Eric, I gotta say, yeah, that Pradam song, I like that one a lot. And I was surprised about the Offset collab because I don't remember them ever doing any type of songs before everything that went down with YSL. So yeah, I was surprised that was a new alliance, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, it only surprises me because of the Thug affiliation, because we know how tight the Migos and Thug were. So that was the only reason why it surprised me. Because we still don't really know to this day how Thug really feels about the whole Gunna situation. We still, and until they figure out that whole trial situation, we probably won't know.
Right.
So
yeah, dude, I can't believe that the judge got recused and all that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that shit might we might be seeing him home a little sooner than we thought.
I think they just put a new judge on the case. They didn't. He's still on trial. Like they didn't.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah, they just put a new judge, and they're like, "No, nigga, you got to face this shit." So
right.
Hell yeah.
We'll see how it goes. They've been fudging it up so far, so we'll see.
Right.
Yeah. Well, my last one is Paisley Dreams by Big Hit and The Game. It was produced entirely by Hit Boy, which is Big Hit's son, and this was Big Hit's first album, fresh out of prison. I think he did 17 years or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So, but he kind of reminds me of like a Blood Nipsey in a way. Like he kind of favors him a little bit, like a little bit. You know what I mean? Where I should say Nipsey favors him because he's older, but even the way he sounds, like when he talks and when he raps a little bit, like his actual like tonality reminds me of Nipsey. And the fact that Hit Boy did every beat, you already know they're fire. You know what I'm saying? And he took more of a traditional hip hop approach on this one too. This is more boom bap style. This isn't like turned up West Coast type shit. Like there's a few of those on there, you know what I mean? But this is more. I don't even think they mixed the album if I'm not mistaken. Like I think they straight up just recorded it raw and put it out like immediately. Just because, like I said, he was fresh out of prison, so they was trying to, you know, get some income generating for him, you know, quickly. And it's like, well, my son's Hit Boy and Games want to do an album with me. Yeah, let's, you know what I'm saying? Let's make that happen. And I'm out here immediately. And now he's, you know, on stage at the Kendrick show and in the video, and you know what I'm saying? So shout out Big Hit. And I talk about Game on here all the time, so y'all already know what he do. Y'all know that I rock with Game, so that is what that is. But yeah, good album. It was definitely it came out early too. It was like the first week of January or something like that. It came out real early this year. So, you know, it might be one of those that people forget about because it came out so early, but you know, definitely go back and check it out if you missed it.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I missed it. Yeah. I also noticed that Hit Boy is everywhere lately. So like I'm not surprised that he helped out his dad, but I'm surprised that I've been seeing him on like everyone's album. Like just about when I was going through all of the lists, I think I saw him on Megan's. I want to say he was somewhere on Rhapsody's as well. And then on a few other people's too. So apparently like he is having a run. So we'll definitely be hearing more from Hit Boy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Eric, do you have any other picks?
Yeah, I got one more. So my last pick is, I'm kind of going to cheat here, but it goes together with, it definitely goes together in my argument. So technically my pick is 2 albums, but to me, I look at it as a double album, and it's Future Metro Boomin, We Don't Trust You, but it's also the We Still Don't Trust You album. Because I just look at one is 1A and one is 1B. So there's a couple of reasons why I love this return of Future and Metro so much. The first reason I think is because it feels like Metro kind of reinvents a new way to kind of construct these albums that he does every single year. And I just kind of love how, like, he's maturing a little bit with the production choices that he's picking as well. Like, I can just tell in certain sample choices that he picks. Like, on that one song, "Seen It All" with that Mobb Deep sample. I can't remember the name of the song right now. Quiet Storm, that's the name of it. But just the way that he like flipped that sample into the record is like, I just love the little like nuances that he's figuring out to like show like his growth as far as like him production wise. So that's the number one reason I really like it. Number two, I arguably put this on my list because this album was basically the Kickstarter for the numerous people that had beef with Drake. Like, yes, Kendrick did have a larger mission behind that, which of course we found out later, but it doesn't happen without this album being present and without the other numerous people that also had little slick shit to say about Drake on this album. So to me, like, yes, the Kendrick thing was very important, but it doesn't happen without this being the launching point. And then to me, the third and final reason is the true gems of both of these projects aren't, to me, they're not on the first album. Yes, there are a few good songs on the first album, but to me, the one to listen to is the second one, because that one is the one where I feel like Future got a little more personal and was actually like talking about a lot more shit than just the flashy shit on the first album. And then number two, it's a little bit more of that R&B side, and I really appreciate when Metro gets into that side of production too, because he's very underrated at it to me. So I think the deeper and more personal album, if you want to hear that, it's the second one. And I also just think the like song, like the song choices and the song topics just go into a lot more topics than just the surface level shit on the first project. There's good songs on the first one, but to me the more meaningful listen is the second part, which is kind of why I put them together. But I also put them together because, again, they're basically the same album, just stretched out over two. We Don't Trust You and We Still Don't Trust You. They're both the same thing in my eyes. So that's the whole reason why I stuck them together like that. But yeah.
Okay. You already know how I feel about it, but I'll leave the notes to Patreon for the more candid conversation that we're gonna have over there on our worst picks for albums of 2024. But I mean, I will say that like I have noticed like a lot of, I don't know about, I guess it's growth, like an evolution. I definitely noticed an evolution with Metro. Like I can see that he doesn't want to just peg himself to one genre. So I'm not mad at that, and it seems like I'm surprised that Future wants to go that route too. I think that's the more surprising thing for me because he has been so successful in like the club, cool guy, flashy shit. So I'm actually kind of surprised that he's singing more. That's the part that threw me off. But it's when you're an artist, you got to try new shit. So I'm not mad at that.
I'm not surprised because he did this before. He did another like kind of double album thing where he dropped, like, I think it was like a self-titled album, and it was like pretty much all straight like trap rap and like that whole sound. And then like 2 weeks later, he dropped another one, and it's like all R&B. And
It was
that was the
Future.
one that
It was Future and Hendrix.
It was it was Future and Hendrix. And Hendrix ended up being the one that people gravitated to more, which is I never saw that happening, but I think people forget that like he did get popping with a lot of those club records, but he also was very instrumental in a lot of like big R&B records. And I think people like forget to give him that credit a lot of times nowadays because he switched up the style so much to just one sound for a while.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah, okay. Fellas, I think we've done all of all of our best albums of 2024. Thank you guys at home for watching or listening. Let us know if we missed any of them. And be sure to check out our More Candid Conversation on Patreon, where we give you guys the worst albums of 2024. And shit's about to get real honest over there. So you definitely want to go check that out on the Ethos Media Network Patreon page. But we're also here on YouTube, on the Ethos Media Network YouTube page, every Monday with a new episode for you. So we will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys. This is Bar Exam.